Tutorial 6. First question. Create a function called withdraw money that takes two arguments, balance and amount, and return the balance after the amount is withdrawn. Critical points: 0 is strictly less than amount, amount is less than or equal to balance, balance and amount should be positive numbers. I create a function called withdraw money which takes two arguments, balance and amount, and both are floats, and returns a float or a none. I will implement try and except blocks, and within the try block I will assert the first critical point. Assert 0 is strictly less than the amount, amount is less than or equal balance. If it is true, it will not raise an assertion error. But on the other hand, if it is not true, it will raise an assertion error, and in this case, I will check if the amount is strictly less than 0. If so, it will print, you cannot withdraw negative amount. If amount is greater than or equal to 0, in this case, print, you don't have enough balance to withdraw the amount, and return none. Within the try block, the try block can also raise a type error exception. In this case, print only positive numbers are allowed and return none. If the try block does not raise any exception, in this case, make a computation balance minus amount and assign the result to balance, and print balance in your account is the variable balance $, and return balance. To check my code, I will run for 5 different balance and amount. But in all of them, balance is the same, 100, but for every example, I changed the amount. For example, in the first example, it's a string object. In the second example, it's an integer 5. In the third example, it's 100. In the fourth example, it's a negative number. And in the last example, it's 105, an integer, but it is greater than 100. I run my code. For the first one, it raises an exception. Only positive numbers are allowed. It's a type error exception. In the second one, it does not raise an exception. Balance in your account is $95. Third one does not raise an exception. Balance in your account is $0. Fourth one raises an exception, you cannot withdraw negative amount. And the last one raises also an exception, you don't have enough balance to withdraw $105. Second question. Create a function called monthly copper inflation 2025 that does not take an argument. Ask the user the month for which the user wants to get the inflation and prints monthly inflation of copper. In the body of the function, it calls 3 global variables: months, a list of months of a year; copper, monthly price list 2024, a list of month price dictionaries of 2024; copper monthly price list 2025, list of month price dictionaries of 2025. Critical points: the user input should be a valid month name, price should be greater than 0, 3 global variables should exist. These are my global variables: months, a list of name of month. Copper monthly price list 2024 and 2025 are list of dictionaries with key value pair, key name of amount, and value price of the copper. Create a function called monthly copper inflation that does not take an argument and returns a float or none. First of all, we will create a while true loop in order to get an input from the user. Ask the user to input the amount and assign to a variable called mount. Then, with the try block, we will assert that the input of the user is in the global variables mounts. If it is true, then break the while true loop. But on the other hand, if the assertion rises an assertion error, then print input a valid mount in the list mounts. But it can also rise a name error. This assertion may rise a name error, and in this case, the list of mounts is missing, call the IT division and return none. The index of actual mount is I, and the index of previous mount is I minus 1. So previous mount is I minus 1 element of list called mounts. If I is greater than, strictly greater than 0, in this case, get the price of previous mount of I minus 1 element in copper monthly price list 2025 list. If I is equal to 0, in this case, we will implement try and except block, and in the try block, when I is equal to 0, I minus 1 is equal to minus 1, and minus 1 element of a list, we know that it is the last element of a list. So get the previous mount price of I minus 1 element of copper monthly price list 2024 list. If it rises a name error exception in this case, print price list of 2024 is missing and return none. Otherwise, we will implement last try and except block. In the try block, we will compute copper inflation. Computation of inflation is very simple. It's the difference of prices between two mounts divided by the price of previous mount. If this line rises a zero division error exception, in this case print the price can't be zero, there must be an error on your database and return none. Or if this line rises a type error exception, in this case you might be looking for a future inflation and return none. And finally, if this line does not rise an exception, in this case print copper inflation of variable mount is the variable copper inflation with a corresponding format. And at the end, return copper inflation. Now I will run my function monthly copper inflation, and it asks me please input the amount. I will enter janvier in French, and it returns me input a valid amount in mounts list. Please input the amount. Let's enter February. Copper inflation of February is 4.42%. Another example, and this time May. The price can't be zero, there must be an error on your database. Or please input the amount. Let's enter August. You might be looking for a future inflation. Third question. Create a function called login that does not take an argument and return true or none. Critical points: give 3 attempts to enter a correct username. If for the same username the password is not correct for 3 successive attempts, block the user for 10 seconds. To check your codes, take user equal to a dictionary with a key John and value another dictionary with the first key PW first value David and second key attempt and the second value is 0. It means that username is John, password is David and number of attempts is initially 0. Create a function called login without any argument. Assign 0 to n and implement the first while loop. While true, ask the user to enter the username and assign the input to username. Then we will implement try and except block, and within the try block I will assert username in user. If it is true, then we will break the while true loop. If it is not true, if it is false, in this case it will raise an assertion error exception. It will print please check your username, increment n by 1 and check if n is greater than or equal to 3. If it is true, then return none. In the second while true loop, we will ask again the user to enter the password. Assign the input to a variable called password. Then again we will implement try and except block. Within the try, I will assert PW of username of user is equal to password. If it is correct, if it is true, in this case return true. But if this assertion raises an assertion error exception, in this case increment attempt of username of user by 1 and we will implement another try and except block. Within the try block, assert attempt username of user is strictly less than 3. If it raises an assertion error, in this case, print your account has been temporarily blocked, time sleep during 10 seconds, and at the end of 10 seconds, attempt username of user, set the value of attempt username of user to 0. Now I will test my code. I click on Run button. Please enter your username. And I will enter John as username. And the password, David. It's true, it works. Now I will enter an incorrect username. Jack. Please enter your username. Please check your username. Please enter your username. Enter Tim. Please check your username. Please enter your username. Peter. And after 3 incorrect input of username, it returns none. Now I will enter the correct username, John, but for the password I will enter incorrect password. Please enter your password. Please enter your password. Your account has been temporarily blocked and I have to wait for 10 seconds before entering another password. Please enter your password. Again, an incorrect password. Again, an incorrect password. And for the third attempt, I will enter the correct password. David. It's true and the process is finished.